I'm armed and recording.
Yes, so watch out.
Good Lord.
For a sound engineer, they're like, yes, I know exactly what you mean. For everybody else, they're like, whoa, buddy, whoa, it's just a South Park movie, bro.
We're not even in the same room. Why are you armed? That's so weird.
This is America.
I want to know what the hell is going
All right,
on.
let's get the clap together. 3, 2, 1.
Perfect.
That's a weird way to phrase it there, bud.
I'm just proud of us for all of us clapping at the same time. This is
As we always do.
moment.
We always do that. Except for the one time where Jamie just went, and like immediately clapped.
When I edited that episode, I couldn't help but laugh again.
Yeah.
And the one time Jamie forgot to clap, because there was the one time I totally forgot to clap too.
All right, let's clap.
Both ends of the spectrum.
Oh, and then I love the dejected Jamie says, yeah, let's do the clap. Oh, like, fuck. And knowing that it's committed to
Yes.
fucking podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yes, the loveliness of the humiliation that Jamie has endured at the hands of the podcast, including a song.
Number one hit in America as of this episode going live. Let's make this the number one hit in America.
How many of us can say that somebody has written a song about you, that it even has your name in the title? And now when people start naming all these other songs like Jamie's Crying and Jamie's Got a Gun, you can say, now this one was actually written directly to me. Unfortunately, that means that for the rest of your life, you will be associated with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Unfortunately. Baby. What is this new commercial? Why is there an Arnold Schwarzenegger commercial now that's coming up on
I don't know.
I don't see advertisements. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's just for you, Jamie.
It's like for a watch or something. It's awful. It shows up on my... It's not even like on YouTube or anything like that. It's on like my streaming services, and I cannot get away from Arnold.
So what you're saying is Arnold is following you and saying, Jamie, please.
Pretty much.
Look at this advertisement.
Pretty much.
Baby.
Please buy this watch, Jamie.
And I will say that people have been inspiration for songs in my life, but I have never straight up named a song after someone that I'm writing it to before. So Jamie, consider yourself.
I'm so lucky. I'm so blessed.
What an honor.
I showed it to a friend of mine, and they're like, okay, 1, I enjoyed it. It was fun. 2, this is not like the kind of shit you usually make. And I'm like, no, that was the point. This is just thrown together in an afternoon with a sequencer and a couple of useful tracks. That's all that was. It's not like I slaved over a grand score and I was writing by candlelight at night or something.
And it's totally gets stuck in my head. Like, it's there, and I can't get rid of it.
I'm with Keith that the part that gets stuck in my head is, what the fuck did I do wrong? Like the way he sounds so plaintive.
It's like stunted. He's like, what the fuck did I do wrong?
Yeah, there's just a little bit of hitch in his giddy up, and I love it.
Yeah.
I have a good time with it.
The part that gets stuck in my head is, Jamie, please. Jamie, please. Jamie, please. What the fuck did I do wrong?
No, my favorite though is God damn you, Jamie.
God damn you, Jamie.
Thank you both. I'm glad that you love that part so much.
No, my favorite part is, who is Dirty Harry? There's just that little voice that I threw in the background. Once he references Dirty Harry, the voice just keeps coming back going, who is Dirty Harry? I just love the fact that there are 2 Arnold quotes. One is, what do I look like, Dirty Harry? And one is, who is Dirty Harry? Arnold is confusing himself, and I love that.
All right, why don't you introduce us, sir?
So welcome to Screen Share and Chill. Ostensibly, we talk about movies. We don't just talk about Arnold Schwarzenegger and putting him over through a trial. We're so happy to see the people voting. I'm saying this completely blind because we just started the poll yesterday. We're in the time machine, so we are in the past to all of you, and we don't know how the vote has gone. Yeah, so we'll see what everybody says. So hopefully, I'd like to see that everybody is exonerating the poor Arnold. He doesn't deserve to go to jail for the rest of his
he will be deemed guilty.
Yes, vote for him if you want to live.
Vote against him if you want good movies.
See, both very extreme positions. I'm just like, he was all right. It was mostly good. It was mostly good. His career was mostly good. There were some shitty movies in there, but mostly good.
Kelley is the moderate in this situation.
I would say that we could go as far as to say his career has been mostly mid. Mostly mid with some good and some real stinkers.
All right. Well, we're not here to relitigate. We are here.
I know. You know what? Let's start back over. Episode 1. Let's talk about Arnold again.
No.
Jamie wants to, so
No.
I don't want.
No more Arnold.
So what are we talking about today, Keith? It's your pick for documentaries. What did you pick for any documentary ever made by the human race? And you have picked?
Casa, Bonita, Mi Amor. The story of how Trey Parker and Matt Stone bought and revived Casa Bonita after it closed during the pandemic.
Hello! Welcome to Casa Bonita. Anyone's parents divorced?
People call Casa Bonita the Mexican restaurant Disneyland.
When you grew up in Colorado, you just remember how awesome it was.
When I was a kid, it was a dream that one day I could own Casa Bonita.
I am going to Casa Bonita.
Why do you think Casa Bonita is so important to Trey?
There are cliff divers,
Dive, asshole!
caves to explore. It made it feel like a dream.
Fans of Casa Bonita have been missing this iconic restaurant for more than a year.
The kid in me was just like, hey, you want to buy Disneyland? I could do that?
Creators of South Park purchased the iconic Casa Bonita, a fine dining restaurant.
Are you guys just playing around?
No, we are renovating and opening an amazing restaurant.
Welcome to Casa Bonita. Howdy, partner. Tarnation.
And we can't afford to build that, so let's just get a dude to do that.
We've inherited this building that is fucked. $4 million for HVAC, new kitchen, that's probably in the 2 range.
Have you ever seen Kitchen Nightmares?
This is what every air duct looks like.
It's the most dangerous thing I've ever seen in my whole life.
We have 2 days.
I expect all the drama to cease.
Oh my God, this isn't ready. Tensions are high.
Is like a possibility that it just never opens?
Yeah, it is.
I've never done anything like this.
Any savvy business person would say, get out now. That's not the point. I better go start making some new TV shows.
I must say that when you recommended this, I thought, Jesus Christ, you could pick any fucking documentary. You could inform our dozens of listeners about any one topic that you think is important to them, and you're picking the South Park guys buying a fucking Mexican restaurant in Colorado. Okay, sure. And then I watched it, and I was like, oh, thank God, nothing heavy, nothing. I mean, it was interesting, but it wasn't like the fate of the fucking world was resting on my shoulders for an hour and a half. It was just watching some guys fuck a football, but they were rich, so they can fuck as many footballs as they want.
Also,
Right.
At least he's not in cahoots with the Orange Menace, who is now like backing up your whole theory.
yeah, you're on that wavelength somehow. You find yourself in the same room with these people.
Not to say that Trey Parker and Matt Stone haven't polarized themselves even to the left side of the political spectrum, which most of us firmly reside on, and there is some, like I have a few friends of mine, specifically trans friends, that have mentioned that they will not watch South Park. That there have been some very, very hard to watch episodes of South Park. They don't put it as in I'm offended. They just put it as in I don't like watching it. It kind of hurts me to watch that. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I keep that in mind when I
there is some of that.
Part of why I don't dive into South Park the same way some.
But
people
I would
do,
also
I'm a little
say
bit like, all right,
that if you've ever been able to watch all of South Park without feeling a little bit offended at something, you're probably not human.
Yeah, what I've described to Kelley is their humor. It's not punching up. It's not punching down. It's an omnidirectional punch in all directions. Is kind of what they do.
Because there are definitely episodes that I've found hard to watch, and I still love it. So
that still breaks the rules, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if we have one basic rule for comedy, you don't punch down, and you're going, well, I punch in every direction, so you punch down. Yeah, okay, then you broke the basic fucking rule of decency. You don't attack somebody that's less fortunate than you.
Yeah, there's some stuff
that's not comedy. That's just bullying. That's just cruelty.
There's some stuff that I don't agree with, but then sometimes they do stuff where it's like, so they had a whole episode where they're ripping on Caitlyn Jenner, and it did nothing about her being trans. It was about her repeatedly running people over. Is what the joke was.
Exactly. So that's why it's like it's a nuanced topic. It's those trans friends of mine, let's say for example, that I've brought up that have mentioned their difficulty watching some South Park episodes. I am not trying to say that their lived in existence is not valid.
No,
I
by
totally
any
understand that. I take it into account. But it is nice to see them, like when Trump was voted into office and then the new South Park comes out and it's just mocking fucking Trump for a half hour straight. And then it does it the next episode and the next episode. And I'm like, okay, cool. It's thanks for, you're on the same side I am now, so it's nice to have you when you're on my side. Hey, it's a good thing when the South Park guys are making fun of the people that you don't like, isn't it? They're pretty good at making fun of people.
They also seem to be fairly self-aware, because I've seen interviews throughout their history, and even in the most recent one, they're like, we look at some of the jokes we did 10 years ago, and we're like, oh, that's not funny anymore. That's not even a joke. That's just shitting on the TV screen. So it's whatever. I totally agree. Some stuff has actually offended me. They did an episode about race protests and riots and stuff, and some of it was actually very poignant, but then there's part of it that's just like, it's so uncomfortable to watch, and I don't turn away from that. I ingest it and think about it, and I'm like, okay, here's why I didn't like this. Here's why I liked this.
People are complicated, nuanced beings. Comedians specifically are often treading into minefields with their satire. I get it. We do the same thing. Like, I made a joke a couple episodes ago about doing documentaries about very racist topics, and somebody could take a clip of the things I said and be like, look at what Kelley said, and it'll be like, no, I was mocking people that say stuff like that. You fool, you moron. So I get it, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to crucify Matt and Trey. They seem like they would probably, if we were alone with them in a room, we would probably agree on 99 out of 100 topics, it feels like. That's just my impression. Maybe that's parasocial bullshit coming up or whatever, but I don't know. They seem like they have a good heart, and they may fuck up sometimes. Hell, who hasn't?
Right. Who among
at the end of the day, they are still billionaires, and we all know that there is no such thing as an ethical billionaire. So.
Yeah, and that's we'll get into that once we start getting into our good, bad, and ugly. There are some things that I'd like to say about that part, but we'll get to that.
Speaking of good, bad, and the ugly, why don't we go ahead and get started with the good?
I'm with you, and we can get into the good. But did this? Do you have any numbers on this movie? Did it do well?
It came out to Paramount Plus, so you know what I mean.
So we won't. Yeah, we'll never know the numbers.
I do think that maybe we need to discuss what Casa Bonita is, because there could be people out there that don't know.
Oh,
what
sure.
It is
okay,
and
so
what we're talking about at all.
Casa Bonita is a giant pink Mexican restaurant in a strip mall in the heart of downtown Colorado.
Downtown Colorado? Downtown Colorado? Yeah. That's a state.
Downtown.
Denver. Sorry. Downtown Denver, Colorado. And there's, it's almost like a theme park. There's attractions for kids to go around. There was classically shitty American Mexican food. Cliff divers, characters. It's very kitsch.
This dovetails perfectly. My number one good is a direct quote from the movie, and it's, quote, Mexican Disney is Colorado tradition.
There you go.
And I'm like, that is such an American statement. That is like, as if historians 200 years from now will look back at that sentence and go, okay, let's break it down.
Yeah.
What's Mexican Disney? What does that mean?
And
for the people of Denver and Colorado, it means Casa Bonita.
Tradition.
Yeah.
It's such a lovely being, semi-sarcastic, a lovely colonization of what white people think Mexico is.
It really is kind of a vomitous mass that I kind of love. You know,
right?
like, it is horrible. The idea of it, some white guy just threw a bunch of random Mexican stereotypes and then created a little, like, very unsafe playground for children to trip over, yes, and drown in and stuff like that, get electrocuted.
Yeah.
And the other side of it is, I love it. I would have gone a million times as a kid. Then again, I went into the sewers of Detroit and, you know, all the other, and grew up at the circus, so maybe my lived experience
It makes Showtime and Chuck E. Cheese look like actual child's
pitiful
play.
Yeah. It's like I would have loved as a kid to be walking around exploring fucking caves and shit. Are you kidding me?
Right?
That's awesome.
Absolutely. Well, that was my next good is that exploring this town. I never went to this one in particular, but I think most of us had something similar to this in our childhood. Some kind of like we had a local Little Caesars pizzeria, which was Caesar Land or something like that, where everything was Little Caesars themed and kind of like pseudo cartoon Roman, and we had a great time with it, sneaking through the little passageways made for kids and stuff like that. But also, like, for me as a child, the Renaissance Festival was very similar to this, where it was just nooks and crannies filled with more and more detail, kind of like an infinitely zoomable map, where the more you look at the small details, the more you'll discover about the things. Like going into a single shop and looking at a single piece of work and asking the shopkeeper how they made that, and learning about the history of this kind of art, and all, you know, like the deeper you look, the more you'll find. And I mean, this place isn't quite that.
Once again,
that's what it felt like. If you were a kid and you stopped and looked a little bit, if you just experienced where you were, you would get more of an experience out of it. And I love that for kids.
Once again,
I love that for adults.
I learned that Kelley and I had such different upbringings because my version of this was I was out in the woods. In the actual woods.
There's nothing out there.
Crawling through trees.
Porn. Boxes of porn. Did you find boxes of porn in the woods?
Okay, so now once again I am
I've
reminded
heard that story
that
a million
Keith and I
times,
have different childhood upbringings too, because I did not find boxes of porn in my woods. I found waterfalls.
I am one of the people. There's an internet legend or myth or whatever about, like, in the 80s and early 90s, you'd just find boxes of porn in the woods. I am one of the children who found on 2 separate occasions boxes of porn in the woods, so it's a very real thing.
I never found.
Confirm.
No, because at like the late 70s and in through the mid to late 80s, the best way to view porn as a teenage boy was magazines. You couldn't guarantee that even if you got the VHS that nobody was going to be home, because usually you shared a VHS with your whole family and nobody wanted to be watching porn when your mom and dad came home from dinner. And then people would hide it in random places. Sometimes it was in their garage, but your mom and dad might find it. So people would hide it at their treehouse or in their little fort in the woods or something like that. I knew friends that did it.
I heard stories about my cousin hiding it in the bus seat at his deer blind, but I personally never found it.
Yeah, so I believe it, but that wasn't...
I found waterfalls and moss.
Good for you, Keith.
And weird animals and foundations of old houses and things of that nature. That's what I found.
See, that sounds whimsical and great, but you've got to understand the enthusiasm for being a 9-year-old boy finding a box of porn in the woods, which is also great. So.
It's like a gift from heaven.
It's the meme with the angelic light behind you as you're looking down into the treasure box.
Yeah, right.
The choir of angels singing.
Or when you open the suitcase from Pulp Fiction.
It
shines up.
Jesus Christ standing next to you and saying, "And this is when I carried you." I mean, this is when I gave you a handy. I don't know.
Where Keith was like, "What have I done right in my life to reach this point? I have been blessed."
Yes, my whole life has led me here.
I looked down and I saw 3 sets of hands, and Jesus said, "And that is when I jerked you."
Why do you do this?
Again, Kelley with the quote that is all on.
Hey, why do you do this, buddy?
I don't know. I was raised in a circus. I used to be a phone psychic, and now you see what the price you pay for these things is.
You cannot destroy an idea. Don't you understand? That's ancient knowledge. You cannot destroy an idea.
My first good is Trey's enthusiasm for his memory of Casa Bonita. They show that scene at the beginning from like 2012 where they're all like, fuck yeah, we're going to Casa Bonita, and they get there and it's all like stinky and dirty and like they seem like very disappointed.
Did he do all this just because he was so embarrassed from that trip? He was like, man, I thought I remembered it looking cooler. I'm gonna buy this place and spend millions and millions of dollars.
But it's throughout the show, he's seen to be genuinely invested and into it, and he even speaks on it, and the phrase that stuck out is like, he says, you could tell it wasn't being loved,
right?
Is his words for it.
Yeah.
Which I think is very, very interesting to, because we're gonna talk a bit about we mentioned it while watching why don't more rich people do things just to do them with their money, even if it's not profitable. And this seems to be a genuine case of somebody dumping their money into a project that seemingly may not even pay off just for the love of what they're doing and what the project represents. And I feel like this is it seems to be, at least the way it's presented, a genuine one of those moments.
Right. No, one of my first goods is when they are on that trip in 2012 and they're talking about it, and Trey says, man, when I was a kid, I wanted to own this place. I wanted to own it. I wanted to be in charge of it. And I thought that was such a cool little foreshadowing, because at that point they didn't know it. And somebody said at that point, well, you could now, you could own it.
Yeah. And he's like, I probably could. Yeah. And that was 10 years before they did it.
But isn't that like, when we look at these major billionaires that have gotten rich and famous off of blank, whether it's J.K. Rowling, Elon Musk, whoever, name your favorite billionaire here. And then I think, like, if I had $1 billion, I would be buying places like the local laser tag and building it up, getting a license with Star Trek. So now we have Star Trek laser tag, and it's actually good. Why wouldn't we be doing stuff like that? Like, I don't know about y'all, but like, I would be buying a huge house and turning it into an artist commune where we would interview like low-income artists that are up and coming to all learn together. Like, this is what rich people should be doing. They should be like cultivating community, helping humanity. You've got almost $1 trillion, and it turns out that, you could solve world hunger with $40 billion. I'd rather
never mind.
Put chips in monkeys' brains or whatever. Like,
I'd rather earn more.
What are you earning it for?
Right.
And even if you're doing it to try to become the number one human, you want everybody to adore you. Why do you think people are going to adore you unless you do shit like this? Right. This is how you get people to adore you, by making their lives better and happier, or keeping tradition alive, something that you care about or whatever. I mean, but then again, I don't think we need a KKK museum, so I don't know if we want certain people's traditions to be enshrined.
Bring back the whimsical billionaires.
Do you remember when he said, I'll solve world hunger, show me how much it would take, and someone showed him, and he's like, nah, that's not feasible, or some bullshit.
Yeah. Like, why wouldn't you just do it? And this is the guy that it feels like he spends his entire life just clamoring for the attention and adoration of the masses, when it's right there. How many people would have worshipped the fucking ground he walked on if he just solved world hunger? All right, what's next? Oh my God. Oh, you and I would be having a very different conversation about him. Anyway, moving on.
Here's some more good.
Another one of my goods is the fucking chef.
Yes, Loka.
Yeah.
And I made sure it's the fucking chef. The fact that like they described her as a very potty-mouthed woman, and then you see her in the kitchen and she's like Gordon Ramsay, like, what the fuck are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. And then she's in meetings, she's at PR events, and she's just throwing around the F-bomb. Like, she's the same person in public. And I imagine she could be probably insufferable to work for.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She's such a character, and I give them credit for hiring a potty mouth, spicy fucking Mexican woman to run their
who else?
Kitchen.
That's
good for you.
My question though is who else are the South Park guys gonna hire as
Rachel Ray? She can bring some Sammys.
They would never. They would never.
You know what I mean? Like, it was they probably wanted to hire upon meeting her and without knowing anything about her resume, or you know what I mean? Like, just that personality.
It's two white guys that made that hiring. So good for you for breaking out of the. Because the first white guy, do you think he hired somebody like that to design his menu? Probably no. Probably like an executive VP at U.S. Food Service or something like that designed their first menu.
I would say that first guy hired his friend down the street who kind of makes something that looks like Mexican food. The white guy.
Hey, Jerry.
The white guy
Jerry,
that makes...
you made a tamale once, right?
The white guy who makes up the quesadillas. I made some quesadillas with some jalapenos here. Yeah.
And pita.
Yeah.
You just got to get the right pita bread with that guacamole.
Speaking of Trey Parker's self-awareness, the fact that he says, that I got worried upon first watching it when he's like, oh, okay, we're doing Casa Bonita, so let's take a trip to Mexico. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Here comes the white guy cultural appropriation. But he says, literally face to the camera, he's like, Casa Bonita is not Mexican, dude. It's super white dudes singing Mexican songs.
It's white people trying to approximate what they think, and there's no way around that. He at least knows that this is not traditional Mexican accoutrement all over the fucking. No, this is Americanized, and it's absolutely right that it's Mexican Disney. It's a bastardized, and I don't know, even Disney might be better at representing the cultures. I used to work in Epcot. I sang for Disney for a little while, and being in Epcot, like looking at their different cultures, at least there's a little bit of like, they try to get the food to be representative of it. They try to get the beers from that local area, there's at least an attempt to keep some kind of, like, for example, if you go to the Bavarian area of Epcot, you will see people that are like from Germany and stuff like that hanging out there having a beer and talking about, this isn't bad. Like I don't know.
And Casa Bonita
and this is not bad.
Is luchador masks on the walls while you eat tortilla chips dipped in melted Velveeta cheese, right? It's
with an old prospector wearing a Farrah Fawcett t-shirt.
Yeah. Nice little touch.
The one thing that I got out of the Mexico trip that I thought was good was, and that shows the heart of Trey Parker at the core, is him feeding the dog in Mexico. So like he's just on the street in Mexico trying to feed a dog, getting a little dog to come closer to him. But also during the time that they were rebuilding this and reopening it, they paid the people who said that they would stay on that were employees. So like the wait staff and the cooks and stuff like that, they paid them the entire time to go do stuff in the community. So like go work at the local soup kitchen, go work at the local thrift store.
Yeah. I've worked at a lot of restaurants in my life. I was a bartender for like 14 years, and I've worked at places that they had to shut down. I've worked at places that we were opening up for the first time and they hired me a few months before they opened. I have never worked at a place that paid me for that downtime. Never. So good for them. That's that little, like they kind of just slide it in there. Like they don't say, hey, by the way, we're paying everybody. That's not, they just throw it into conversation. And as an audience member, I'm like, whoa. Why didn't you make a bigger deal about that? Cause that's a big deal for a boss to pay you when they're not making money.
Well, that leads right into my next good, is that they actually brought up the status of the Colorado economy from like number 9 to number 6 or something, with all the people they employed that had to fix this broken ass fucking restaurant.
I think Jamie had made a joke during our viewing saying something like Trey and Matt are the number one most famous people now with the trade unions in Colorado. Right. And then they have that scene right afterwards.
They have like a little shrine to them when they walk into their trade buildings.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she made that joke, and then they show the governor
bless
saying,
you, Trey, bless you.
The governor is like, you have increased our standing in employment by 5 points or something crazy like that.
And while we're giving them a nice handy and saying how good they are, I will say that I appreciated the fact too that I would imagine a lot of rich/famous people would, if they saw something like this, they'd be like, oh, I want Casa Bonita to be the same as it used to be. And then they would buy it and they would see how much fucking work would go into it. And then they would just hire a project manager and they would say, here's our vision. Please work on this for the next year. We'll be back. And then they would come back after a year.
And or just be like, not a chance.
Yeah, or just be like,
just sell it immediately. Sell it, turn it around and just sell it immediately because it's not a sound investment. But even if they cared about it and they're like, oh, I really want to see this place up and running, a lot of people would just delegate and they would give it to a subordinate and then they would walk away from it until it was halfway done or all the way done and then come back and critique the work that other people had done. And there was a little bit of that in this, but they felt like they were hands-on. They were there on site, maybe not every single day, but pretty close to it every other day, or they might take a month off, but then the next month they'd be there every day for 10 hours a day. You can see lots of shots of them on site doing shit, whether it's like, looking at the venting or, the fucking electrocution.
I think there's a shot of him literally sweeping the floor, like, which is.
No, I'm not so disillusioned to think that they were out there fucking slaving away with all the manual laborers picking up pieces of concrete, but at least they were a bit more. They didn't just buy it and run away,
right?
And that's what a lot of people would have done.
One of the things he said was, he's like, if we were smart and savvy businessmen, we would walk away from this. But we're not smart and we're not savvy, so we're sticking to it. Yeah.
Well, and because they weren't doing it as an investment, and that rang true through the entire thing. This was never meant to make money. This was meant to me. I'm putting money into something because I want to see it exist. Good. Like, do you think when the Rockefellers and the Carnegies, as much as they were pieces of shit in their own way, but when they would build a library in downtown New York, do you think they were planning on making money off of that library?
Right.
No, it's not an investment. People that look at government as, well, we have to run it like a business. No, you do not. It is designed to spend money, not make money.
Yeah.
This is where we spend the money. Like, we make the money as the citizens, and then you spend it to do the things we want you to spend it. You don't need to make money off of our money. If you can, sure, whatever, but don't make it off of me. Anyway.
Halt, listener! You violated the law of not sharing our podcast. So please, share our podcast with your friends and loved ones, people that you think would like it, people that you think are cool, people that you want to think you are cool. It really helps us. We have no advertising budget to speak of, and word of mouth is all we have going. And it's been pretty nice so far, but we'd like a little more.
Yeah.
You need to start doing your part, listener.
Yeah, we're doing our part. You all need to step up your game a little bit. No, not really. Just the main thing is tell your friends, but also remember to subscribe on the apps. So don't just look for us every week. Let your app remind you. It's there for your convenience. We're doing this for your convenience. So download our episodes and, maybe even jump over to our YouTube or one of our other social medias and subscribe there. And speaking of social media,
we have lots of different options for you. You could be on YouTube with us or on Blue Sky, Insta, Facebook, Discord. We even have a Ko-Fi at ko-fi.com/screenshare. You can give us money. We like money.
Money's good. Money is objectively evil, but for
it's the abuse of money is objectively evil. Just having the money is fine. Just don't abuse people with it. Don't hit people with your stack of $100 bills, and you're fine.
Or you could hit us with your stacks of $100 bills, and we'll watch a movie for you. Also, why don't you review us? We'll read your review on the air. Someone was telling me that Spotify, they couldn't find a place to put text for review, only numbers for the stars. You can comment on our YouTube, comment on our Spotify episodes. We'll read those.
You can even comment on Spotify now.
Yeah, exactly.
We've added that ability, so comment anywhere, and we'll let you. We'll read it on the air.
Comment anywhere that is our social media. If you just comment on somebody random social media, they're probably not going to understand what's going on, and we won't see it.
Yeah. If you went to the Star Wars fan page and said, "I love Screen Share and Chill. Their chemistry is really fun," people might be like, "Who the fuck are you?" And they might delete your comment.
But if you drop our link there and share, now you're doing the real work.
Right. And like we said, you can rent us a movie on Ko-Fi, or you can force us to watch a movie of your choosing. We have the Years of series going on right now. Maybe you have a whole series that you would like us to watch.
We're courting the whales now, huh?
Hey, you got to go big, right? You got to ask for what you want.
They still got to pay for each individual movie, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And it's always cracks me up, all the weird random movies that people suggest to me when they start watching the podcast, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to even review that. It could be really fucking funny, but either way, you can force us. Right. You can force us to try to get through a horrible movie, or force us to watch a childhood favorite of yours that we haven't touched on yet to see what we think of it. Because chances are, if it's good, we'll agree. But if it's not, be prepared.
You could even have us watch some epic, life-changing movie that you've seen as an adult that you think every person should see. If you pay us, we'll watch it.
And we just do these ads like Keith was saying, because, word of mouth is really important to us. As a small, independent podcast, we don't have a network to lean on. We don't have a lot of ad agencies or anything like that. So we rely on you and ourselves to do all of the marketing on shoestring budgets. None of the three of us are independently wealthy. We're not even independently, moderately comfortable or anything like that.
We're independently poor.
Please help us. Yes, we're... Or we can just go, we're collectively poor. Yeah. That's so do us a favor, do your part, and help the podcast anyway. We appreciate you being a loyal listener. But for now, let's get back to the show.
I loved that they, instead of bringing back a real macaw, they brought back an animatronic macaw so that they weren't putting like some poor animal into this environment.
I loved all the animatronics in general. I love fucking animatronics.
Yeah. Animatronics creepy.
Maybe future generations might not find them as quaint and funny and slightly creepy as our generation has, but like I think they're awesome. But everywhere I go that has animatronics.
So does Trey Parker, because that's one of my favorite jokes and scenes in the whole thing is when he's talking about the prospect of tarnation, and like he keeps like pointing and he's like, "We need a tarnation there. We need a tarnation there," and then we'll get 3 up there. It's like tarnation, like all he's even doing the the robot body movements. He does what he holds his 2 fingers up like a gun and goes like that, a shitty recorded sound of a gunshot. Like he's so always on and animated. He's fun to watch.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I also love that they decided that the macaw was going to give shitty fortunes.
Yeah.
Or be like, we find out.
Literally, it just takes a shit. Like, that's the fortune that it gives.
Sometimes the little kid comes up and tries to get her fortune. I think it was like a little girl or something like that. And the bird just goes, "Well, it's not looking good for you." Starts pissing all over the floor. I'm like, what the fuck are we watching here?
It's very.
And then you see the jokes that they didn't go with. In the puppet show, what were the jokes about? Like,
it's like, all right, so who's here on their one day with Dad?
Yeah, like what the? Like obviously, I don't think that made it into the final show. Right. But that shows you that they pulled back for the bird pissing in front of the little girl and telling her she's going to have a shitty day.
Yeah, that was
like that was the moderate position for them. Yes. Wow, these guys are a little out there.
And I loved that they went with the Pharaoh shirt on the prospector after they were talking about it. Like, oh, you know what? He looks too serious.
They showed the decision.
Yeah.
They showed when he made the action, because they were joking about it. And then he's sitting there at a table holding his head in his hands, and he's like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. Put a Farrah Fawcett t-shirt on the animatronic.
It's nice to have a lot of money and just be able to go, yep, it might not make sense, but I want it. Put it there.
Uh-huh.
That's...
Who's got some more good? Any more good?
I'm out.
My last good is just the sheer amount of smiling I was doing. Like, I had a dopey, just happy smile on my face through almost this entire movie. Like, it was so nice, like Kelley said earlier, to not have to think about serious shit and be drugged down. And it was just, it was whimsical and delightful and pressure relieving.
Good. I'm glad that you got that experience from it. I have one more good myself. It's just another joke, but it really made me laugh, and it's just another example of like, wow, these guys, they're always on. Well, and Kelley, you mentioned even the construction guy was funny. Like, everybody seemed to be intelligent and funny who was talking on camera, which made it an enjoyable watch. But when they're pulling down the HVAC system and the tubes and literal dirt is just falling out on the ground, and they're like, yeah, we got to redo all this. And Trey's like, well, then how are we going to get dirt into people's lungs if we replace all of this?
It was so gross, and he pointed a spotlight right at it. And that's where you can tell, like, your omnidirectional punch thing about South Park in general. He is not safe from his own ridicule. His own target, his own business is not safe from his own ridicule. He just punches at whatever he sees around him. And you can tell he tries to do it in a... He's not mean. He's not trying to be cruel. He's just pointing out the absurdity of, well, we all see this, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. All right, well, let's step out of our comfort zone and let's talk about the bad.
The beginning, the horrible original food that they were serving that was like slop covered in Velveeta melted goo. And calling it Mexican.
I used to live in a small town in the middle of nowhere, and it was the big city in the area because we had a Walmart in town, and I think we had a total population of like 10,000, 20,000 people. They had a bowling alley, and the bowling alley specialized in, quote, Mexican food. And they had like a wet burrito and that kind of stuff. And it was this. This is what a small town in the middle of fucking nowhere at a bowling alley serves and calls it Mexican. This
Right.
So bad.
It looked microwaved. Is that like
yeah. I guarantee you it didn't. I'm sure it was microwaved. A lot of the process.
Yeah.
Head chef Mike.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I mean, and we all know that if we had just gone and watched this movie and somebody put one of those wet burritos in front of us, I still would have probably ate the motherfucker.
I would not
I'm not
have.
saying it was inedible.
I am.
I would have.
I am
I'll
very
eat
much
Mexican
against.
slop. That's fine.
I'm against cheese sauce that looks like that. That cheese sauce is not. No, not worth my time or my energy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I wouldn't be happy about it, but I'd still eat it. It'd be like, still edible. But I ain't calling it Mexican cuisine.
What about you, Kelley?
I have two bad. Number one of it was, as much as it was comfortable and fun watching this movie, it was also slightly depressing because watching the lives of rich people is depressing as fuck.
Yeah, fair enough.
Being able to do something like this, I'm like, wow, that's really cool for them. I would, if I had the kind of money, I would do this, even thinking on a smaller scale. And I'm like, oh, but I probably will never get a chance to do that. So, yay. Good for you. Specifically you. Good for you. I'm glad you are having a good time. All these people are putting a lot of work in and everybody's making money and it's a very serious business, but because it's so that you can have fun.
Wow, way to make it about you, Kelley.
Hey, it's not about me. This is about the and it's not even about both the South Park guys. You can tell the one guy doesn't really give a fuck. He's like, sure, whatever. Like, I like it, but it's not like, I'll help you if this is important to you. And the other guy's like, yes, this is very important to me. I need to do this.
When he's showing him on the phone what the HVAC system looks like, and he's just laughing. Like, this is his millions of dollars are invested in this too. And he's just like, when he sees the inside of the air ducts and how gross
I guess I'm going to have to make another cartoon, he says as he walks away. I mean, because that's what it comes down to. He knows he's sitting on a gold mine. All he's got to do is sign a couple pieces of paper and write a couple more jokes, and it's all paid for.
Yep.
And as noted by their new deal with Paramount recently, that they made like how much?
1.5 billion. 1.5 billion.
1.5 billion. Jesus Christ! This Casa Bonita is a fucking drop in a bucket. For them.
I mean, a lot of that does go to South Park production because it wasn't quote unquote them, it was the South Park company or whatever that made that deal. But I'm sure they're getting a lot of that back. You know what I mean?
Man. Yeah. You know, that's like Tesla versus Elon Musk. There's it's the same thing.
Sure.
Same picture.
Sure.
I only have one other bad, so
when they showed the original creators of Casa Bonita selling it to the new owners and instantly regretting it, and rightfully so, because the new owners did not do a goddamn thing to care for that place. And essentially, literally ran it into the ground. The state of the building when they show it, when there's like beams aren't connected. What kills me is the area where the divers had to come through, like a bunch of tubes and shit. Like
an electrical
clothing gets caught. All the electrical is humming like. Like
we're talking not just some electrical wires. We're talking about the breaker boards.
Yeah,
are feet away from where the divers come out of the water. So just the natural splashing element of coming out of the water could coat the circuit board, the breaker boards for the entire fucking business.
Yeah, if they slip
50,000
and put an arm out,
whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
There were lights. There were light receptacles. What do you call it? The thing that you screw the light into. That were like inches above the water.
Fixtures.
Inches above the water level.
Yep. It was a death trap waiting to happen in a bunch of ways. And even going beyond that, like, our medical science is advanced enough where we can tell when certain things can cause us harm and how to prevent that and yada, yada. But, like, we don't have any long-term cases about, like, because how many people did this place already injure?
Right.
How many people developed pneumonia because of all the shit that they breathed in from that HVAC system? How many people, we don't know. We don't know what kind of damage these kind of things just did by existing for 30 years and being a staple with a bunch of little kids coming in there maybe with not very strong immune systems, and now they're exposed to mold and spores that they wouldn't be at home, that kind of thing. Who the fuck knows?
Right.
Who knows? My last bad is as they were getting ready to open and they're under crunch and they've tried to set a date and it's kind of a publicly known date and everybody in Colorado is camping out and getting ready for it. And then they decide to do some last minute changes. We need to change these things. We need to do this and this and this and this and this. And for the theater crew that they hired, this is like a what? What are you talking about? Because theater doesn't work a lot of times the same way as film and TV, like we talked about. They get their changes quick on the fly, whereas theater people, they usually have their script set in stone 6 months before the show opens, kind of thing.
Right.
And so whatever, last minute changes, whatever, he's used to TV. This is how they operate. That's fine in itself. But then when it turns out, well, we have to delay the opening, he's getting mad at everybody for taking too long when we should have been able to get this done in time. And it's like, well, yeah, motherfucker, if you didn't make all these last minute, you definitely didn't help. I'm not saying that it's all your fault for making these last minute changes, but you can't make changes at the last minute and then get mad at everybody else for it taking longer than usual to open.
Yep, also you
did it yourself, man.
Mm-hmm. That is my last bad as well, because I work in a field that has lots of last minute changes, and it's always distressing and like, come on, man, and a blow to morale when you have to do it, but that's the nature of it and you have to do it, but it fucking sucks as the guy who has to implement the last minute changes. It sucks. And so while on one hand I get it, yeah, okay, well the boss has decided this is what needs to be done, so this is what you're now tasked with having to do. It fucking sucks,
right?
And I being on the receiving end of that is no bueno, and that is also one of my big bads. Yes,
and it pisses me off doubly because he gets mad at them afterwards. That's the part that really, like, last minute changes, whatever. I think we all know, coming from a creative fields in different ways, that this just happens sometimes. Whatever, you roll with the punches. But then for the client, let's say, for them to get mad at you, for the, hey, can you switch all these things and change the lettering in this? Yeah, it'll take about 3 days. Well, what the fuck is it going to take 3 days for? Because of the thing you just asked me to do.
Right.
Hello.
Right.
Like, it took us 6 months to get here, and now you want it to be changed completely in 3 days, or in less than 3 days. It's not how the world works.
It's gonna take a minute. Yeah. Yes, those changes you just asked me to do, that's gonna take a minute. Yeah, it's how life works. This is how linear time works in the universe we currently reside in.
It was a fairly significant change, too. It was going to be set in the 1800s, but then he decided, no, it needs to be this 1970s interpretation of what the 1800s was like. So that puts a whole new flair and character on it.
But that releases them from trying to be authentic. You know?
Yeah.
And then any authenticity, i.e. maybe the food coming out of the kitchen, will be celebrated then, because this is a playground that has pretty decent burritos or something,
Any more bad from you, Jamie?
I have no more bad.
Speaking of which, somebody brought up we mentioned interdimensional. I don't know, just to hit on our last episode, what with Trump releasing all that information and stuff like that, one of the senators has come out and straight up said, yes, there is evidence that interdimensional aliens have made contact with the U.S. government. They specifically mentioned interdimensional several times in it. So,
sir, this is a Wendy's. We're talking about.
I thought that was super interesting, and we don't get a chance to go back to episodes. So, take my rewind and move on. But any other bads?
No. I don't have any more bads.
All right, so let's do our scene spotlight.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So this is it is shown in the show, but Kelley hasn't seen it, so we're gonna watch the full clip from the 2003, I think it was, episode of South Park, where Cartman goes to Casa Bonita. I will mention that, funny enough, a girl at my work was like, "Oh wow," because I was talking about we watched this, for an episode of the pod. And she was like, "Oh, I thought that was a place they made up for South Park." I was like, "Nope, that's a real thing."
I think a lot of people thought that, really.
Yeah. So here is, this is Cartman goes to Casa Bonita.
We're here! Casa Bonita! Oh man, this is gonna be so great!
Wait up, Eric, we need to stay together. Hold on, boys, that's my cell phone. Hello? Yes? Oh, that's great! Boys, they found Butters. He's okay.
Oh, awesome.
I love that's just a pawn store and a liquor store. It's not in a fancy area at all. Station wagon.
And then like a porn theater.
Yeah.
Well, it appears
Yeah.
that Eric here is responsible for Butters'
Oh, that is
missing
a
because
porn
he
theater.
went to go
I thought it was
Casa
just a
Bonita.
normal theater. I didn't realize
Eric,
it's
the
those are
South Park
naked
police
peoples.
are already on their way here to have a little talk with you.
But, Casa Bonita, I should have known better. You never cared about my birthday at all. But, stand back. Cartman, stop it. I am going to Casa Bonita.
So he takes his friend hostage.
Yeah.
Well, he's already put one of his friends in a hole in a yard, kidnapped him and stuck him in a hole in the yard and convinced him that like zombies have taken over Earth so that he can't be found.
Excuse me. Can I just eat some of your... Yeah, thank you. Okay. Oh, gotta get back to my cave. Excuse me. Coming through Black Bart's cave.
Oh, Black Bart's cave.
Look, a skeleton. Oh, man, I'm
So this is just straight up him reliving his childhood in the episode.
cliff divers. Come on, dive. Dive, asshole.
Dive, asshole.
Awesome. Calls him an asshole and then says awesome.
Yeah.
Can I get some Tilda Pants, please? Sweet. Ooh, puppet show. Ah! Cartman!
All right, kid, end of the line.
Yay! Jesus Christ!
This is him living his childhood fantasy in cartoon form.
Well, kid, you made an entire town panic, you lost all your friends, and now you're going to juvenile hall for a week. Was it worth it?
Totally.
And he even apes that sentiment at the end. He's like, you spent $40 million on a place that you can no longer go to because you are more of a distraction than the place is. Was it worth it? He says, totally.
We didn't bring it up in the good, but I will mention that he, as the movie went on and his goal was being realized, I brought up, and I think the movie even explicitly gets this, and maybe this is what we're supposed to be picking up on, but the goal is really he wants other kids to have the same experience he did. Not even necessarily his kids, just kids in general. He wants kids growing up in this area to have this cool little playground type thing that they can go play with other kids and have some Mexican food and see the divers and all this shit. And as we're getting near the end and he's stressing out and he's spending millions of dollars and blah, 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 I said, I hope he gets to see some kids playing in the playground that he made for them. And he does. And that ends up being the climax of the story. He watches a bunch of kids playing and doing the puppet show and just having a great time. And you can see, like, it looks like the tired dad that's ready to finally go to sleep. Like, he's like, oh, thank God the kids are having fun.
Right.
I want to go home now.
I can rest now.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And I love that. That was such a wholesome message for the entire thing, that it was just really, I say that it was for tradition and all that stuff. That was his real goal, is he wanted other little kids to fall in love with this place the same way he did.
It's also, like he said, he essentially built his memory of Casa Bonita, not the reality of what Casa Bonita was, but what his memory, he took the reality of it and improved it and made it better for the next round of kids to come in. And there's a great little clip of one of the more current episodes of South Park where, because you write what you know, right? So it's Cartman's opening a restaurant, and he's talking about, he's like, oh, it has cultural relevance, and we're doing this for the people, and then he goes down a slide mid conversation and is just like, wee, and then picks the conversation
totally
back up
for all of you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not just messing around. I'm not just playing around here.
Yeah, wee.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's the adult putting a fireman slide in their house, and it's like, oh, just in case like somebody wants to use it when they visit. That's all it's there for.
And then, yeah, exactly. All right, so I guess now it is time to talk about the ugly.
There's not a whole lot ugly. I mean, if you want to like look at some of the horrible conditions of the building beforehand, that's some ugly shit. But like, I don't know. I only have one big ugly, and I think I'll save that till the end.
In general, like the amount of money that they had to spend to get it here is just astronomically awful.
It's a lot of money.
It is.
It's all a matter of comparison, though, like in your weekly budget, it's the equivalent of you spending about $100.
Yeah.
You know, like it's to us it's a lot of money, sure, but to them,
yeah. But they still had the point where the guy is like, wait, that's $2 million more than what you said on Friday, and he's like, oh yeah, you know, but and it's like it's still $2 million, you know?
Yeah, like Matt Jones.
I get what you're saying, but for them, but who's really hurting from that?
Sure,
not them.
Yeah,
no. But it was like the point was made that like the guy was like, oh yeah, and I'm sure when you're working on a project with a budget like this that has ballooned to more than double the original budget, that as one of the workers, you're not like, oh, it's $2 million, you know, like what is that? That's not going to stop them. $2 million more, okay, but for Matt Stone to be like, yes, but that's still $2 million. Like it's not 200. That's $2 million. That's a lot of money. So they did feel it at least. They weren't like, oh, that's nothing. Go ahead and do it. They, you know, there was some grounding in reality there. But it's not
like they had to switch brands of macaroni or anything.
No. Exactly.
You know,
yeah.
No, but they were at least grounded in reality with
drive a beater to work.
Yeah, this week since my budget is tight this week, I bought bread and ham. So that's going to be a large my diet for the next week is going to be a lot of ham sandwiches. So.
And when I'm getting broke, one of the staples that I always get is just some basic spaghetti sauce and noodles because it's quick, it's painless. I can do it with butter if I don't want to use the tomato sauce, but I'm so tired of spaghetti.
Or
times is hard, man. Times is hard.
Mine is peanut butter on toast, peanut butter with jelly, peanut butter with sugar, peanut butter.
Hey, it's got lots of protein.
Mm-hmm.
It's dense calories, so. Any other ugly? Because I got one left.
My one ugly is the bird graveyard over the kitchen ventilation system. How many years was that there?
Right.
That is ghastly. Like
that hawk or whatever, just completely killing every bird that would come up there.
Mm-hmm. And
that
dropping
one bird was eaten well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but could you imagine what was getting into that food before it got cleaned up?
What did they ever do about that?
They cleaned the roof. Yeah, they installed new HVAC and.
No, but I mean, what did they do about the bird?
They probably installed anti-bird like sound because a lot of the fast food places
like
around here
stuff, but for birds.
No, it's like it's like a sound system that plays predator birds to scare away the other birds.
Play Tyrannosaurus Rex noises, what we think they are, just to see what'll happen.
Right.
But yeah, that was ghastly to me. Like because I've had food poisoning a couple of times in my life to the point where if something has been in my fridge for 4 days, I'm like, no, I'm probably not going to eat that. I'm going to throw it out. And so just knowing that all that stuff was, I mean, you know, it got into the ventilation system. Yeah. There's no way it didn't.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The intake vents are probably pulling in a lot of necrotic tissue and like fumes from feces is what they're pulling in mainly. So it's rotting corpses and shit is what it's pumping into the building.
Casa Bonita.
And then it's pushing it through a bunch of dirt and mold and spores
onto shitty Mexican food. It's like
and just directly into the vent that's blowing over your table.
Yep.
Enjoy and it's probably in air conditioning too, so you probably have kids that are putting their face right up to the vent going, it feels so good.
Right. My last ugly is the fact that Trey does not get to enjoy it because if he is there, he takes all the attention away from the place, and so he does not get to enjoy his creation, and that made me sad. And I just was like, get the man some prosthetics, let him come in as like Prospector Bob himself.
Tarnation.
Yeah. My final ugly is I've said it before and I'm going to harp on it again. The fact that rich people don't do stuff like this more. And it's like, I guess they figured out that it's cheaper to buy the news and tell people how good they are instead of actually doing good deeds. And it's such a sign that our culture is so fucking backwards when the meritocracy, the supposed meritocracy, rewards people for being like kind of psychopaths and then doesn't reward them for at least using the rewards from this lifestyle to try to enrich the culture that birthed them. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. And the fact that we are sitting here applauding one time a billionaire did one thing that cost them $40 million. And I'm like, okay, good. More. What are you doing?
Kylo Ren meme. More.
Yes, exactly. And it turns into, I like to think of, I used to say years ago that we were beginning the age of information. And I wasn't the first person like coined this phrase or whatever, but great minds think alike, I guess. And it was basically that we're at the beginning of the age of information when the internet was becoming more ubiquitous. And I surmised at that point that even though this will feel like a long, arduous process to get from here to the point where people are more enlightened and society starts joining together and becoming more of, more globalization in the sense that we understand that people in India are just humans the same way we are, that kind of thing. But while we're in it, it's going to feel like a real thick, painful process, and it'll feel like it takes forever, but in the grand scheme of history, it'll probably be not that long, a couple of decades, something like that. And right now...
On the map.
Yeah, and right now we're at...
You are here.
Yeah, we are here, and we're right in the middle of it, and it feels like right now is kind of the tipping point where those news sources that are telling everybody that, don't worry, just because the rich people are still wonderful, and they're still really worthy of all this money and adoration, even though they don't do fuck all to help anybody but themselves. People are starting to wisen up on that. And what we see is in culture, when a new position is kind of, when the pendulum starts swinging in that direction, it picks up speed really quickly. Like LGBT rights, like, so many things, civil rights. Like once society kind of picks up on, oh, you know what? Slavery is wrong. It doesn't take long after that aha moment for the rest of society to, well, most of rational society to realize that, oh, yeah, you're right. 'Cause like, again, for us, slavery was outlawed in 1865, and then we were an anti-slavery country after that. Well, for everybody living in that time, it took a long time when people started making up their mind to get from A to B to Q. And right now it feels like we're at least at the point where let's see more pressure on billionaires to do stuff like this. Either pay your fucking taxes or do so many things like this where you're spending a shitload more money than you're hoarding.
Yeah, where no one can be mad at you about not paying taxes as much if you're actually giving to your community. Instead of being a fucking dragon and hoarding your gold like Smaug.
Yeah. And getting mad at trans people online, or buying your 75th yacht that you have to build special ports so that you can get your big fucking yacht into it.
Well, if we tax billionaires, then when I'm a billionaire, I'm going to get taxed.
Cool. Worry about that when you become a billionaire.
Yeah, I got news for you, buddy.
That quote about Americans being temporarily inconvenienced millionaires, and that's why they don't want to.
Right.
No, motherfucker. You are closer to being homeless than you are.
They all think they're like the Roses from Schitt's Creek. The money's coming back. We'll have money. It's coming.
So those were our good, bad, and ugly thoughts about Casa, Bonita, L'Amor.
Mi Amor.
And normally at the end of this, we would do our 3+1 questions, which some people would consider that 4 questions, but I like to think of them as 3+1 questions. But these 3+1 questions would not be necessarily appropriate for our documentaries.
I do have some statements adjacent to those, though, that I would like to make. First of all, I would be delighted if we could get Jim Henson Company to hand Trey Parker the keys to like a hard PG-13 Muppet movie. I think that would be incredible.
I think they're closer to doing it with Seth Rogen, but I think you're right that the South Park guys might be a little bit funnier.
And like they have the musical component that's all, you know what I mean? Like it would be,
you're right.
It would be a very good fit. And I do have an MVP for this, and it was that little boy that got splashed and just sat there having a moment. And when
I love that little boy. I was like, the first time I saw the scene, my eyes just like zoomed in on him because everybody's all frantic around him, and he's just looking at like he's completely disassociated. He is out of body. What decisions have I made in my life that led me to this fork in the road?
It was so good, and the camera knows this. Like, give that cameraman a raise.
Right?
He's slowly zooming in on this kid who's having like an existential crisis because he got splashed.
Like he kind of wants to cry about it, but he knows he's too big to cry about it, so he can't cry about it.
Yeah, so for listeners that haven't seen it, basically a kid is standing right next to the splash zone for when the divers dive into this pool, and all the kids get splashed, and all the kids run around and they're like, hee hee hee, because they're all wet and they're running away from the splash, except for one kid that just sits there and takes it, and looks like he is regretting his entire life leading up to this moment.
He's like, he's looking at his hands like these hands.
Yeah, like they look like big, strong hands.
Yeah. He was awesome.
All right, so the two questions that I want to throw at you are, if Trey Parker and Matt Stone came to you and said, hey, we've hired you, you get to add one character or one element or something to Casa Bonita, what would you add?
Oh, geez, that's a tough one. Maybe have some cartel characters, maybe that come and steal your plate. I don't know. I have no idea.
A cartel? Wow.
Yeah.
That's dark.
I was thinking like you get a black Bart skeleton that sits dormant throughout the entire day, but like you have a staff member every once in a while check in on it. And if there's ever one kid alone with the skeleton, he talks to him.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I like that.
Hey, kid, don't tell your friends. I'm still alive.
Yeah,
Can you bring me a nacho?
The gold is stashed here, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yeah, just and have it be a little legend where all the other kids will come and look, and the skeleton never moves, and they don't believe their friend, but that kid knows. Yes. Becomes a local legend.
I can see that. I think that I would add like some little, like they used to have the candy and they don't have the candy anymore. They made a point of making it just a regular treasure room, but just like something where you can go on a treasure hunt inside and find like a little, like a pearl. Maybe they're going pearl diving and they can find a little pearl that just Casa Bonita plastic bead.
Oh yeah, or prospecting, like panning for gold or something. Yeah.
Oh, not to
be fun.
Not to derail this. One thing I forgot to mention in my good, so I'm just going to throw it here, was the part where Trey is like, I want kids to walk away from this exhibit knowing the difference between Aztec, Incan, and Mayan. Which is I don't ever see some business owner caring. You know what I mean? It's just like that seemed to be a thing he wanted to do, is actually impart knowledge, and I think that's worth
because he knows that a lot of kids will get past that and they'll know the difference and they won't care, but some kids will get at the end of that and they'll be like, I want to know more about what's an Incan.
Yeah.
I want to know more about them. And then they'll go look it up online. What we used to do, they'll go to the library and look it up. But nowadays, they'll just go Wikipedia it or whatever.
Put it into their phone immediately.
Right.
Yeah, but either way, they're learning.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful. You had a good time. And maybe that was like a product of our generation, too, because Gen X, we were kind of raised with edutainment. Mm-hmm. So, like, a lot of the cartoons we had messages, or they had straight-up lessons about how to survive and different things. And they knew, like, your parents don't give a fuck. They're going to leave you out. So this is how you survive if you're in sub-zero temperatures and all you have are shoelaces.
If you're stuck overnight in the woods, this is what you do.
Yes. The last question I have for y'all is, would you go?
Absolutely.
100%. Like, I want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what a cool trip that would be if we were rich and our podcast was like Rich and Famous and we had that Rich and Famous content.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We fly out to Casa Bonita and do a little quick 30-minute episode from the parking lot of the Casa.
New tier announced in the Ko-Fi.
Send us
if we can hit a target of $5,000, we will
send us to Casa Bonita.
It's just a matter of time. At our current rate, we'll get there in about 28 years.
Yay! We'll only be ancient.
And that's if we don't spend any of the money that comes in.
Well, that's already shot because you spent everything we had on the last movie.
Oh, yeah.
Something,
the alien movie.
Something to hold on for.
Yes, someday. And we decided early on that we didn't want to do did you like this movie, thumbs up or down, officially, because it's kind of a given that we assume that we're going to like every single documentary, but just for the record, thumbs up, thumbs down.
You really want to do this? Here. Now? Yes. Okay, let's do it!
I will totally watch this again.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I've watched it twice now, and like Jamie said, it's kind of a comfort food documentary. where you think documentary and what are the main things is like war, crime, and murder is probably the three big
What was Kelley's like? There's
or sex
documentaries.
Scandal, or
Kelley's where he was like, there's documentaries where there's not a crime, but what is the crime? But how is there not a crime?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. So nobody died? Wait, why did nobody die? There was no government cover-up. There was no police officer that hid the evidence. Nothing. What are you talking about?
Perfect.
All right, so those were our thoughts, good, bad, and ugly, and our 3+1 questions modified for your delight. Next week, it is Jamie's turn on our first run of documentaries. She gets to pick any documentary from any era about any topic she wants. And what are you picking, Jamie?
Well, I went from the very dark topic of Athlete A, which I still think everybody should watch, but it is dark and it is heavy, to the Jim Henson documentary. So,
woohoo! I cannot wait. That's going to be great.
And he would not want to wait.
Another wholesome documentary in an era where things are like, if you want dark and depressing news,
look outside your window.
Look at Twitter.
Yeah, open your curtains.
Yeah. Open the curtains and you just see fire and brimstone, Mordor off in the distance.
Yeah.
A Nazgul knocking on the window.
I wonder if that's what it's like to live in D.C. If you live in D.C. right now and you like look out and you see the White House, it's like a chill runs over your spine. Or whatever,
the eye ever watches moves towards you when you open your curtains.
Yes, it's a little cartoon caricature of Trump's head, and it's just turning on a like
the Vegas sphere, except Trump's face.
Yeah, and his mug shot where he's all like looking at the.
I'm a bad hombre. Yeah.
You feeling okay? Yeah, just trying to squeeze out this. Oh, there we go.
That was me this morning.
Too much information.
And on that note, for Screen Share and Chill, I'm Kelley.
I'm Keith.
And I'm Jamie.
Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, y'all. It's time. Go squeeze one out yourself if you need to. Squeeze them if you got them.
Hey, if you've been to Casa Bonita, let us know. I can't talk over saying squeeze them if you got them. Jesus Christ.
I'm going to call the police. You go ahead, call them. Call anybody you want. They can't